yesterday. So yesterday we discussed about the partitioning, what is a partitioning and how to create a partitioning, what is a partition class and what are the columns we can have a partitioning, and what is the multi-level partitioning. Multi-level partitioning means like let's say you have a partitioning, you want the second one more multiple level of partitioning. Let's say you have a state and you have a country as a one partition and you want the state also is the another partition in it, right? So based on your frequent query, so what is the query you're going to use frequently, so based on that we will decide okay which column has to be going to be a partition column, and the partition column should not be part of your table definition columns like your normal table columns, but it's not make any difference. It will not make any difference for you guys at the hello, are you guys able to hear me?
Your voice is breaking sometimes.
Now
It's
it's clear.
it's not
Before it was.
okay. So the partition columns we will decide based on the our query frequently which query we are going to use, right? So based on that we will decide which column has to be a part of the partition, right? So you can have a multi-level of partitions. You can have one parent, under that you can have one more sub. So as I shown yesterday, if you look at this diagram, if you when we are going for a partition, when you are going for a partition, so if you look at this, the partition column, the partition is nothing but a directory in a HDFS. So that's what I'm trying to say. The partition is nothing but a directory in HDFS. Whatever the partition by column you are specifying using partition by class, whatever the thing you are defining there, so that column is going to be, that column is going to be your partition column, and that is going to be a directory in a HDFS. Your table will be a parent directory, in that your partition column. So guys, the directory name will be like this: country equal to, the directory name also it will be like this only. The directory name itself will be like this: country equal to in, under that state equal to ka. It will be a directory. The directory name itself will contain the equal symbol. Okay, whenever I'm going to query, let's say I want to query state India and country India and state Karnataka, I want to query that. So then what we will do, I will go select star from employee where country double equal in and state state equal k. When I did this, your query will come first. It will come table is nothing but the directory. Okay, that directory is there, fine, very good. So now it will go down little. What is the where condition? Where country equal to in. Okay, where country equal to in is there, very good. So inside that it will try to find and, so we have and operator, right? So country and, okay, where state equal to k. So whether the state equal to k file directories exist or not? Yes, it is exist. If it is exist, inside this state equal to ka, whatever the data is there, it will just fetch and display you. So what is happening here, your your query is not actually scanning the whole data. It is directly is going and fetching the specific directory and specific type of data based on the directory name. Based on the directory name. Understand, guys? Understand, right? Any doubt? Madhu,
No, sir.
Monica, it's clear, right? Debashish? The partitioning is nothing but dividing your data into small parts for better query performance. There are some limitations for the partitioning, so we will be seeing that. Don't worry. So I'll be explain you what is the how many partitions we can create, and what is if I create a more partition, what will happen. So all those things we are going to see. So your partitioning is nothing but a directory. Okay, let's go back to our document, guys. Let's go back to the document. Let's see here. So if you see, yesterday we have created table like this, create table, table name, and this is this, and these are the columns. Okay, column one, these are the columns, and these are the partition by column. Okay, you can say stored as text file, stored as sequence file, stored as ORC, RC file, whatever the format you want, you can look at that. So we will see the file formats later point of time. So this is the way we do partitioning. Any doubt till here? So then we'll go and see little. So once we complete the partitioning, right, yesterday I forgot to bring to the complex data types, the different type of data types I forgot to bring, explain you guys. I'll explain that. Clear? Clear? So
Here,
go ahead.
have is like want to use the partitioning, right, on an existing data. Can we do that?
On existing data, we will create a partitioning. By creating a new data, a new table. Let's say the data is already exist in RDBMS, or let's say the data is already exist in Hive table. So then what we need to do, we have to create a partition table. We have to create a partition table. See, you can add a partition on existing data by using alter command. Okay, or what you can do, there is a table which has all the data. It's not partitioned. Now you can create a partition table by you can create a partition table, and you can use the insert command. You can use the insert command by fetching from the existing table. Or if your already table is there and you want to add the partitions, you want to modify something, so you can use the alter command to do that. You can do a alter command to do that.
I mean, if we alter the table, right, so the data it's already there, which is in one folder, example, one file, example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
That we will see. I understand your question. So before that, let us see how we will create a partition. Then you can easily understand know how we can modify an existing table. So see, uh, what we will do, most of the cases, we will create another table. We will create another table, and we will fetch the data from the existing table. That's the way. Or if you are already having a table, we will do by using partition column, but the data is already loaded. The data is nothing but a file there. So there is a little difficult to add a partition. If you add a partition, you have to specify what is the file has, what is the data has to go in that. So for that, what we will do, we'll create a new table altogether, and we'll fetch the data from that table. We will see that.
okay.
Yep. Okay. Partition table. So let me. Yep. So before that, first I need to get the data. First I need to have a data. So based on the data only, we can decide which data is going to which data is going to which partition. We have to decide first. So I will show you guys the different type of partitions are there. One is a static and dynamic. So first look at the static partitioning. First look at the static partitioning. Let's try to understand what is the static partitioning. Then we will see a dynamic partitioning. Then we will see dynamic partitioning. First, you need to understand the data. So the table creation is as similar as how you create a normal table, but you have to specify a partition by clause. You have to specify the partition by clause. You have to specify partition by clause. Okay, and you'll specify the partition by class, and you'll specify what are the columns has to go under that. You can take your country, state, and city, and row format delimited by this. It seems that my voice is getting lost, right? Guys, it seems that I'm get my audio is getting lost, right? Sometimes. Srinivas, Madhu, Devashish. No, it's clear. Is it my voice is
Now
clear?
it
Now it is clear,
now
right?
it is.
Sometimes I'm seeing that my audio symbol itself is going disabled. It seems. Hey, everyone able to hear me? First, let me ask this question. Devashish, Madhu, is you guys everyone able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys, understood. Okay, first let's see our data quickly. So based on that, we will create some Hadoop Hive data. Okay, Hadoop Hive. The data is already available. The data is already available in your the drive. Okay, we can have a data. Guys, if you are not talking, could you please keep yourself in a mute? Monica, could you mute? Okay, very good. So let's look at guys here. So I can take any type of data, guys. Here I can take the existing this Nasdaq. What is a Nasdaq? It is a stock exchange company. It's a stock exchange company. This is some stock exchange Nasdaq. No, what you say? Exchange and exchange full form. Exchange and exchange full form. So either I can take that data or I can take Nasdaq. See Nasdaq data, the whole data. You can take any type of data, guys. You can take any data. The Nasdaq data. Try to understand the data first. We'll create a partitioning later. So let's say this is my Nasdaq data. This is the ticker. Ticker means what is the exchange code and the date of when the date the stock has been. What is the open price of the stock and what is the high price of the stock? What is the low price of the stock? And when it has been closed, what is the volume of the stock? Okay, so this is the whole data what I'm showing you here. It is for the specific exchange that is called Nasdaq. Okay, so different kind of tickers, different type of tickers from the Nasdaq. Okay, what I will do, so what I will do, so I will create, so I will create a partition table, and based on this, on top of this, I will create a partition table on top of it. And what I will do, I will load this data based on the country. Let's assume that based on the country. So guys, everyone look at here what I'm trying to do here. So this data has to be available in my HDFS, right? This data has to be available in HDFS first. So this is the Nasdaq data. Let's look at what I'm going to do this. So I'm assuming this whole data is the whole data is for the whole data is for the whole data is for country called India. The whole data is for the data. This data is called whole data is for country India. Okay, and I will take one more date. This is 2010 11/5, right? Let me take this. Let's say this is for country. This is for country called US. Okay, so these two data sets I'm going to load into HDFS now. So I'm going to name them as let me close these two guys. That's what first before we are going to do this kind of partitioning, first we need to understand the data. So this data I'm going to say underscore in. So for my understanding, nothing else. For my understanding, I'm keeping it as a underscore in. underscore us underscore us. Let's say these two files I am going to create partitioning based on these two files. So let's first create a table. Let's first create a table with these columns. With these columns. So you have something called exchange symbol. So here, see, it depends, guys. Let me show one more thing. Here the problem is data, so we need to get the data. That's the problem, nothing else. We need to have a different kind of data. I think I have some data in HDFS. Let me look at that first. So let me show you data first. This is for items, departments, and categories. This data is different. I need data for Hive data. HDFS, and let me look at in the desktop. Fine, then I'm going to keep the data into specific location. I should have a data somewhere. No, I have kept somewhere the data for the specific Hive input, Hive sample code. Okay, let me create some folder here, which is Hive input. Let me create a folder saying that static partition. Okay, so here I'm going to put the data in this. So for that, what I need to do, because my data is in Windows machine, so I need to put it in through WinSCP. I'm starting my WinSCP. The host is 198.192.168.56.101, and username is Hadoop1, password is Hadoop, and save this. Okay, and login. It's taking this much time. It's asking password. Hadoop 1. So logged in. So I need to get the data from my D drive. So this is another tool from where you can transfer the data from a Windows machine to your Linux box. So this machine, we and this I have one more. We have something called Hadoop. This we have something called Hive. This you have something data dataset datasets. Not only this data, there are so many data sets are there. So now I'm going to fetch the data. One is US, other one is underscore IN. There is some other data which I have. Yep, is there. These two data sets. So where I want to put into slash USR slash local slash Hive input. So in this I have something called static partitioning. I'm fetching these two files into this. I'm fetching these two files into this. Now I need to create a table. First I need to create a table this. So based on the data only I have to create the table, right? Based on the data only I have to create a table. Let's look at here. So first understand what are the columns are there in your table. First understand what are the columns are there in your table. So let me go ahead and start these two files, because the two files has to be the same format, because I'm going to load two different data sets. One is the ticker date open close price. Here also should be ticker date open high. Here also open high, low close and volume. Low close and volume. Very good. So I should not have a header, because if you have a header it will give some problem. We are not importing to skip the header. So we are loading the data using our load command, put command. So we have to remove the header from the this data. We have to remove the header from the this data. So open these two files in our gedit. I'm going to remove the first line of the code. I mean first the header from this, because I know what are the columns are there, right? So I'm removing this header and save the file. Okay, now you prepare your table. So you prepare your table. So my table code is should looks like create table if not exist stock underscore partitioning. So I don't have exchange, because the whole data I'm loading. So I'm loading whole data. So I don't want to I should not have, I don't need the exchange here. I don't need the exchange. So let me create this one more time. I'm creating one more time. Manage table the partition. Here I don't need the exchange. I need the symbol. I need the date. I need the symbol. I need the date. Open price, high, low, close, and volume. So I don't have anything called adjusted close. So remove that column as well. So based on the data only, your table looks like this, right? And partition by country. So let me show you first partition by country itself. We'll see the rest of the two things later. I mean multiple levels of partition we'll see. So look, on partition by country I'm doing, and row format, delimiter, store as a text file or CSV file, whatever it is. So now I'm going to create this table on my Hive, on in Hive. I'm going to create this table in Hive. So source dot bash rc. I need to do this every time. Here some problem is there with this. Let's say Hive. I know the JPUs. I think all services are running. I already started the services. MySQL hyphen root hyphen p. Okay, now I'm in MySQL. So let me show you my Hive. So Hive is started running. I'm going to execute on show and know that my database name use test 530. This is the database name we are using for our practical purpose. So you have some commands like set hive.cli dot print dot current dot db equal to true to see the current database, to see the what is your current database. Okay, there is something called a header, no header, so that anyway we don't need it, we'll see that later. So I'm going to create a table here. So I'm going to create a table. Look at guys here, it's very simple. Create table name, create table name. I'm creating stock underscore partition because I'm going to create a table which is a partition table. So I'm loading symbol, date and all those things I'm loading here. So press enter. Some problem. Okay, date is the keyword, so the date is the keyword, so you should not use the date. Stock date, you can say stock underscore date, stock underscore date. My table is created, my table is created, so I can say show tables. So if you see, I have something called stock underscore partition. So if I do select star from this, I do not have any records, I do not have any records. And if I see describe, guys remember all these commands, okay? What are the commands I'm executing? Describe, formatted stock underscore partition. Look at here guys. So what is my column names? These are my column: symbol, stock date, open, high, low, close, volume. And the partition column, look at here, the partition information. This is the table has been, this is the column I have been partitioned. And what type of it is? It's a column name, and it is a type of string. What is the database I'm using, and blah blah blah, user, owner, type of the table, and this. And am I using bucketing? No, I'm not using any bucketing. And these are the some information about your table, right? It's a describe formatted. Describe means it will describe, it will list out, it will show your schema of your table, schema of your table. Now I need to load the data into this. Now I need to load the data into your partition table. So I need to load the data into your partition table. So how to load the data into partition table? You have to specify, load command, and you have to tell that this is going to be my partition column. So this is my partition column. I need to load the data into this partition table using partition by column, right? So let's take your partition statement. Let's go here. Where is that partition? Where is our partition? This is the one, manage table with a partition. So here I'm going to either I can use the local in path, or I can use the my HDFS path, but time being I'm using a local in path. Load data local in path. What is my path, guys? Usr slash local slash hive input slash you have something called static partition slash. Now you need to specify what is the file, which file you are going to execute. So let me execute this one there only, because I will get the autocomplete. If I go and execute here, wait, oh, it is not showing me. Then I can get it here, slash usr local hive input static partition ls. So I'm going to load a data of India data. I'm going to load data of India data. Let's look at guys here. To your partition. So where you are going to load, which partition you are going to load? Look at your partition by country, partition by country. Now you need to specify partition, which partition you are going to load. You have to specify which partition you are going to load, and partition space and partition name, which you need to hard code, and you need to specify which table you are going to load. Partition, what is the partition column is? Country equal to, I'm just keeping a code like in into now which table, what is my table name? What is my table name? You can fetch the table name from here. So if your partition underscore stock underscore partition, where is that? Into stock into table stock underscore partition. Semicolons and mismatch. What is mismatch? Why it is mismatch? I'm just looking, is there any syntax error in my query? I'm just looking. Correct only, right? Into table. Okay, I think I need to specify the partition at last. Okay. Load data local in path. Yeah, this is my into this table the position problem. So this partition by this, the partition by this. Let me check. It's loading the data into that specific partition. Very good, it's loaded. You can see select star from this table. The data is loaded. So the data is loaded into properly in all the columns, right? The data is loaded into all the columns. If you look at here, the IN is appended. IN is appended in the table. IN is appended in your table. So let me show you guys. So I don't want to show that. Let's say limit 10. Let's look at the 10 records. What it is happening, IN is appended. It was not part of your table definition, but when you look at this, it is showing your IN as well. So in this case, let's execute the set command, which is high CLI set command. So that will make you the columns headers also will be it will show you the column headers. So if I show that, it will be very easy for us to look at. Now look at guys here. If you look at here, you have a symbol, you have a stock, you have something called open, high, low, close, and volume, and the last column is country. Last column is country. The same way, I'm going to load. Now I have loaded the data of. Now I have loaded the data of India data. So I can load the same way. I can load the data which is um, I can load the same data with different kind of data, right? Which is like this is India data. Now I'm going to load the data which is USA, which is USA. Here the file, the name I need to fetch because I need to first I need to get the data which is US. This is CSV data. Let me change here my India to US. Okay. Now here it should be USA. It should be country should be USA. Now look at here. Now look at here. I'm going to execute this command as well. The data is getting loaded into this. Now if I say select star from 10, it is fetching me first 10 records because it has it has first 10 records means it will be always putting all these records, right? Let me show you how it is loaded into your HDFS. So that will make you no difference. That will make you a real difference. Go back, warehouse, that we have something called test DB, in that you have something called static underscore partition, in that you have two folders. This is what I was talking about. Your partition name is nothing but a directory. The partition column is nothing but a directory in a HDFS. Country equal to IN, country equal to US. Suppose I want to look at this, I will look at this. So this is my data. This is my data. If you see here, countries underscore USA, this is another data. This is another data. So any doubt hai guys still here? Debashish, Madhu, Monica, Raghu, Aparna, Swati, Vidya, is there any doubt till here? Very simple what we
Ravi,
have done. Yeah,
your partition key is country ID, right?
it's a country, correct.
Yeah. In HDFS,
Hmm.
non-partitioned column is in separate file and partitioned column is in separate file, right?
No, 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 no. See,
It will be in same file.
it is in same. So your partition column will not be there in the file. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
if I look at
Mm-hmm.
this data, so it will not allow me to show because it will change to localhost. Let me change to my IP address. So 192.168.56.10. So the partition column you are specifying explicitly here. You are specifying explicitly. So actually it is not part of your table, correct? It is actually is not part of your table. Your table, what is a part of the columns? Your table symbol, open date, stock underscore date. Let's say here I will change stock underscore date, your open price, high price, low price, close price, adjusted volume or whatever the volume it is. This is your columns. Your data also will contain the same. Your data also will contain the same. This is the symbol, date, open, high, low, close, and volume. There is no country here. There is no country here. You are
Okay.
explicitly specifying. Okay, whatever the data I'm getting, this is India data. So it means you should know what is your data before you're putting into your HDFS or your Hive table. In a static Hive table, static partitioned Hive table. You should know what is from where we are getting the data into uh, what is our data you are getting from which country, then we will load it. That's why if you see your country, if you see your insert commands, clearly you are specifying hard coded. You are specifying hard coded here. Country equal to IN, country equal to US. You are specifying it. So there may be a chance it can be India data, it can be any data, it can be any data. So because you are hard coding, you are passing manually. There may be a mistake, right? By passing, you can pass by mistake also, right? Yes or no? There may be a chance where you can send through a wrong value. Do you understand what I'm trying to say, Srini?
Yes, Ravi. Yes, Ravi.
So here, so let's assume that I'm loading some other data. I'm loading other data. Let's assume that. So my operator, I'm operator. Let's assume that I am the person who is loading the data into HDFS Hive table. So they have given me different files. So let's assume that I'm in a night shift. With the sleepy eyes, what I'm doing, I'm copy pasting my commands. So I forget to change my source, my file path, and I just changed here. Instead of US I said UK. I just said UK. Now I am assuming that I am loading the data UK data into UK partition. I'm loading the data UK data into UK partition. So but which data I'm loading? India data only. I'm loading India data. There is no restriction. No one will stop you. No one will stop you. So with respect to HDFS, it is just like you are loading a file into some folder. It's just like you are loading some file into a folder. Correct? So it's nothing stops you. There is no conditions to stop you here. So that's why in the real time we will not use static partitions heavily. We will not do load by using static partition. So now look at here, guys. Select star from stock underscore partition, stock underscore partition, where country equals IN. So in this case, I no need to scan the whole data. I'll scan only the respective data. So it has to be in a single quote. It's giving me a warning. That's because it is a string. Okay, now I'm going to fetch the data which is belong to only India. So I can also use the limit here. Okay, I'm fetching only India data. Let me use same thing for UK. Let me use same thing for UK. But do you see both are similar? But you assume that while loading the data, you assume that no, I loaded the data of India, but why it is showing the India data under the UK? Because you have done a mistake while you were loading the data. You have done a mistake while you were loading a data. So that's why in the real time, that's what I'm trying to say. In the real time, we will not use hard-coded things. We will not use hard-coded data. We will use the dynamic partition. We will use the dynamic partition, so that I will show you guys. So let me copy this for my reference and let me put it here for the result of that. Let me put it here for the result. Understand? Last 2-3 cursor missed. Okay. Understand, guys? Do you guys understood what is a static partitioning?
Yes, Ravi.
So now
Yes.
you have done under country equal to India. So tomorrow you want to do multiple columns. You can do you want to do multiple columns. So you guys take it as an exercise. I want you guys to do for multiple columns. Multiple columns. I have done for the country. You do for country and state and district. So that time what will happen? Very simple, guys. So that time what will happen in HDFS? It will create in HDFS. It will create country is equal to India is there, right? It's a directory. If you see here, it is a directory. Under that, it will create one more directory. Under that, it will create one more directory. Okay, the normal way, the normal approach how we will follow in a, real-time scenarios. So we will not get the data country wise, correct? We will not get the data country wise. We will get the data which is clubbed together. We'll get the data clubbed together. Everything will be there in the single file, right? There may be a chance where you are getting the data into country wise different files. That is a different, but there are chances where you'll get the data whole data into single file. That time what we will do, we will create temporary table. I mean temp table. So our staging table, we will create some staging table. We will create some staging table and we will load the data into that staging table. We will create some staging table and we will load the data into that staging table and we will fetch what are the columns you want. How we will fetch, Ravi? Look at guys here. How you will fetch here, look at here. So these are the things what we have done. So here some sample example is there. This is the data format, and you can also take this from this document. You can copy this data, you can duplicate the data, and you can load the data. Okay, load data local in path into this into table. This is the table and partition by this. Okay, we just now we have seen this command, right? After loading, that is the one way of loading the data. And other what you can do, you can create some temporary table. So add some temporary table and you will put into that. So you can write insert override table partition user. This is the partition columns you are specifying. This is my partition columns. Use state equal to VSS, state equal to AL. So now I'm just going to do a simple query, guys. Please bear with few minutes. So I'm going to show you one more, static table, static partitioning with. I'll be sharing this document once I'm done with all these exercises. Insert. Nothing here. It is I'm going to create some temporary table. I'm creating some temporary table without partition. I'm going to create some temporary table without partition. I'm going to create a table without a partition. I don't have a partition here. I'm removing this partition. Okay, so what I'll say, stack underscore stage. So normally we'll call it a stage table. Stage table. Now what? Next, I will just load the data without specifying this. I will just load the data without specifying these things. Where is my UK? UK I have modified there just, I think. I'm loading the data without specifying partition. Forget about partition. You don't do that. You also don't do this partition here. My table should be stock underscore stage. Stock underscore stage. Stock underscore stage. Now let me execute all these three commands. Copy. 3 commands I'm executing at a time. So instead of that, you can keep in single file, you can execute that. We will see that's called batch processing. We'll see that. So my table has created, which is a stage table has been created and the data has been loaded. In this data, have I done the partition? No, I didn't do a partition. Now I'm going to create a partition table. Now I'm going to create a partition table. So now I'm going to create a partition table. Let me fetch that, guys. Now I'm going to create a partition table. Now I'm creating a partition table. Now I'm creating a partition table. This time already I have a partition, so it will give me a problem. So I'm just saying 1, or I can say underscore insert. So for more clarification, underscore insert. This time, this time, this time, what I'm going to do here, okay, this time, right? So actually we have did a small mistake here. In your data, in the data you should have a country column. In the data you should have a country column. Here I don't have a country column in this data. Whatever the data I have loaded, that's a small mistake we committed. The mistake is, look at here, if you look at this data, the data does not have a country column like this. If I don't have a country column, how will I fetch? I cannot fetch. If I don't have a country column, I cannot fetch, right? So I don't have a country column here. I don't have a country column here, and I don't have a country column here as well. So if I have a country column here like this, if I have a country column like this, it could have been very nice. It is easy to fetch the data. It could have been easy to fetch the data. Okay, that we will see tomorrow. Okay, or else just wait a minute, I can finish that anyway. What I will do here, I will take 2 zeros, control H. I don't know whether it's right approach or not, but I will be using this here, 00, comma, let's say country India, IN. But I need to alter my existing Hive table also. This we will see, guys, tomorrow. So very simple here. What I'm trying to explain is very simple. Your table should have your whatever the temporary table you are creating, the temporary table should have a country column. And while you are fetching the data, you can fetch the data by using insert override command or insert into command. If you want to override, it will override existing data. If its data is already exists, it will just override the data. Clear, guys? Any doubt? Any doubt? So that's it for today. Tomorrow we will see, guys, on one more thing I would like to tell you. Okay,